Myths about therapy. I didn't even know what therapy was before I needed it.
That might clarify some things, maybe some misconceptions about psychotherapy that we may also have had at some point in our lives, and that's totally fine.
It's scary talking to another person, and you might think that your therapist is there to change who you are. There are people who go into therapy who want definitely a quick fix. Tell me what to do.
I want to be the most productive person in this world after I come out of this session. You have your own power. It's not just us, right? We are there to support your power.
Yeah. Just encountering that type of safe space is enough to help a lot of people.
It has its own benefits.
Oops. We have to move it back a bit.
Welcome.
Because we don't want to be floating heads. We were aware last time. Past few videos, we were floating heads. All right, so you know what time it is. It's tea time.
Is it jazzy or jammy time?
It's a jazzy jammy time.
Jammy time.
Jammy time.
It's cozy side time.
Perfection.
Welcome back to Cozy Side.
Welcome back to Cozy Side.
This is another episode
of obviously Cozy Psych.
Yeah. So here we like to talk about everyday topics, cozy in a cozy way,
in a fun way,
through a psychological lens.
Through a psychological lens. Because what are we again? We are graduate clinical psychology interns entering. We are finally masteral candidates because we have passed our comprehensive exams and we are just working on our thesis and capstone project for Bela.
If you want to see our experience for our comps, you can look at our video over here.
I think it's linked there.
It's over there. Okay. Actually, it's over there.
There. So. Yeah, we're almost there. We have we're entering our last year of basically just writing our
thesis,
our capstone projects and theses. So yeah,
theses.
We're slowly getting there, bit by bit. So if you want to join us
on our
journey and join this cozy community,
please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe. We would love to have you here. And just
save our
the
broke
cozy
asses.
vibes. Anyway, so today we are talking about myths about therapy. I have there's so many things I think or misconceptions rather that people have told me about therapy, about the therapeutic process.
I also personally had them.
Because
that's fine.
That's fine. And we all I didn't even know what therapy was before I needed it. That's actually what I would say to people who psychology is pretty new here in the Philippines. So especially before the pandemic. Now it's after the pandemic.
It's a lot more normalized.
Yeah,
but before there was a lot more stigma.
Yeah. So it's to those people who still don't know what I do, I'm like, when you need me, you'll know.
You'll know. You'll know. But I'll be here. I'll be here, bro.
Yes. So, essentially, what are we anyway? What are therapists? What are at least psychotherapists, which is what we do.
Yeah. We specialize in counseling, by the way.
Counseling.
So what we do is really just we help people who have not necessarily mental health problems, just people who are seeking maybe another perspective.
Clarity, want to reach their goals. Anyway, so this will...
Yeah, so this might clarify some things, maybe some misconceptions about psychotherapy that we may also have had at some point in our lives, and that's totally fine.
All right, the first one is...
The first one
is therapy will change you. I mean, and this means therapy will change your personality.
Yeah, you're supposed to be an entirely different person as soon as you get out of those doors.
Yeah, I had this one person tell me he was so hesitant about going to therapy because he didn't want his personality to change. He thought his intelligence would change, and that really perplexed me. But it's important, as a therapist, as beginning therapists, that we meet these types of misconceptions with compassion and empathy, because we were also there at some point. So I guess we understand where where that might come from, because it's scary talking to another person, and you might think that your therapist is there to change who you are, but that's not true at all. Actually, I think therapy doesn't necessarily change who you are, but it helps you become more of who you are. Because, right? Like, it helps you become more you. At least in my experience as a client who has been through therapy. When you're, struggling mentally with your mental health, you tend to not become yourself anymore. You know that feeling where you become a shadow of yourself, at least when when you've experienced depression. I'm sure other people can relate. So when you go through therapy, when you talk to someone who will help you process your feelings, integrate past experiences to your present experiences, to your sense of self, and find ways to cope with struggle better, coping strategies, develop better coping strategies to deal with anxiety and depressive tendencies, etc.
I think what you're trying to get at is it's really to build self-acceptance, right? So that's what therapy is
among
for.
other things. Yeah, among other things.
Helping you come to accept, like, this is who you are, and maybe building that person into someone who's
better
even
well-being.
better, well, in terms of well-being.
I like to think that it helps you become who you are more. A more well-adjusted, more adaptive version of yourself that you want. It's always of course, a good therapist will help you become who you want to be, whether that's more of yourself or a more productive person, less depressed person, etc.
Okay. So
and
moving on to our second one.
Our second myth about therapy.
There is this myth that only people who are broken or have mental health problems need psychotherapy. And honestly, personally, I did have that idea, also conception, before I got into therapy. But going through everything that we learned, we realized that therapy has a lot of uses outside of just treating clinical cases, right?
Yeah, it's not just for people with mental illnesses. It's for just like
for everyday people who have everyday problems, because the truth is we all need someone to give us an outside perspective.
Yeah.
Right? But this, I guess the difference between just your everyday person giving outside perspective and a psychotherapist is really professional tools that we learned throughout our practice and throughout our academic journey to be able to give you tools that you can use in your everyday life, right? So these are things we learned from research. We learned also from the things that we learned.
Yeah, like it's important to turn to your friends and your family for support when you're going through something. That will always be important. But there are some things that like our friends and our family aren't necessarily trained to do, and in order to protect their well-being as well as our own well-being, it might be best to seek professional help.
That is where professional help comes in, to be able to give you that space that you are free to be yourself in, right?
All right.
Which can be hard also for people outside who are not, that's not their job.
Yes. All right. Our third myth that we are busting about therapy is it's a quick fix. Therapy is a quick fix. Now, of course, there are people who go into therapy who want definitely a quick fix. Tell me what to do.
I want to be the most productive person in this world after I come out of this session. I'm like, I'll do my best, but no promises, bro.
Yeah, no promises. It really depends on the person.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's not.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a quick fix.
In the end, we are not genies. We're not gonna magically solve your problem with a snap of our hands. We are
as much as we would want to.
Yeah,
so
we are humans, and we also have to understand who you are to be able to help you get through that. Everything is a journey, and in the same way, psychotherapy is a journey as well.
It takes it's a long road ahead, right? Like it took how many years of experiences and perhaps trauma and other things that have led you to where you are today. And imagine decades of that. It's not really possible to undo in like 2-3 sessions.
There are those expectations, right?
Yeah.
Like just decades of hardship you expect to get rid of in like 1 hour session. I'm like, yo, you sure?
In relation to a topic we'll do in another video, it's that therapy is also, it's not just our job to fix our clients.
Yeah. It's also
most of it is also the client's
because again, something that we emphasize in therapy is your own agency. Right? You have your own power. It's not just us, right? We are there to support your power.
Yeah.
But in the end, your power is the one that will get you through.
And so a lot of it is also how willing are you to do the work and apply the strategies that you learn, the insights that you gather in therapy, so that all contributes to the process. Now, on the other hand, our next myth that we want to bust about therapy is that it takes too long. It takes a decade.
So there are different types of people. What we mean is, because earlier we mentioned it's a quick fix. Now we're talking about it takes a decade. So there are different types of people who come into therapy. Some expect snap of your fingers, I'm fixed. Some people expect, oh, this is gonna take too long. I don't have enough time for this.
Yeah.
Right. So, but the thing is, right, in the end, it depends. What kind of psychotherapy are you seeking? There are different types of of psychotherapy. Some can be brief psychotherapy.
Yeah,
right?
like solution-oriented
CBT. So that they're a lot more directive.
Yes, there's a specific number of sessions that are like prescribed.
And then there are some that are like psychodynamic, for example, or so if you know Freud, those kinds of things. They take a lot longer because they're delving into your experiences, the past,
take a while.
Sometimes you don't even know what your past is because there are instances where people repress them, right? So sometimes you won't even know them, and it takes a while, of course, to delve into that. So it depends.
Yeah, it depends.
What are you going for? What are you seeking? What kind of help are you seeking?
Yeah. So, and along the lines of that is that, sure, you might not be completely healed, and maybe that's not exactly a realistic expectation when you go to therapy, but even after a few sessions, you can already start to feel better. It doesn't mean that everything in your life is going to be fixed. And by the way, therapy doesn't fix everything in your life, because there's also, you have the agency. It's also part of your responsibility as a client to implement the changes.
So it's like a doctor, right?
Yeah.
You go to a doctor, they give you meds. It's still up to you. Are you going to take your meds?
Are you going to take your meds? But like even then, you can expect, at least a part of your pain, of your maladaptive strategies to at least change or to feel better, to shift, even just encountering
even just a little bit. And
safe therapeutic space, having that safe therapeutic relationship can be already very healing for many people. So just encountering that type of safe space is enough to help a lot of people.
It has its own benefits. And for a lot of people, it does work.
Yeah, I've seen that in my own clinical practice. So, don't be afraid to, it's going to take how many sessions to see progress. You'd be surprised also. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Sometimes at some point, like, you would schedule weekly with this client, and then at some point we would find that we would schedule maybe once every month or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great point, because like, at first you might need to see your therapist twice or once a week, but eventually as you start to see progress, you might just see them once a month,
see them less,
every 2 months, etc. Maybe just get booster sessions a year or so, like once or twice a year. That's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And our last point is, our last myth that we want to bust about therapy is that it's only for rich people. And,
bougie.
It's bougie.
For rich people.
Yeah. And we're not going to lie, right? Therapy it can be expensive. It can be expensive, but not all forms of therapy are expensive. There are plenty of resources out there. If you can't afford like 1 to 2 hour therapy sessions every week,
there are a lot of centers that provide free services for people who are in need, right? So I'm currently interning, and also in my previous internship, I also provided free services as my training practice as well. So, and this is really like a community service that centers do to be able to give back to the community, and it's something that will help a lot of people who maybe can't afford. Right? Or who can't afford to shell out that much for therapy. And so these are there are lots of resources you can go find where in your location, wherever closest to you. And what's great about the pandemic is it also helped make psychotherapy accessible. So a lot of things are online already. So that's something that you can find online. Just search. I'll find a lot on Facebook. Just search mental health services.
Mental health services. Find like various hotlines in your area that will that offer free
services.
There are
There
usually crisis hotlines in major cities, and even if you don't live in a major city, like you can access them via like online teleconsult or even like on the phone.
Awesome.
So yeah, do your research. There will be people out there to help you.
So I hope our video helped for anyone who's maybe afraid to seek out some psychotherapy or counseling. Maybe I hope this helped bust some myths that you may have or may not have.
So yeah, that's all for today. We hope you guys liked the video and you found this informative. So don't be afraid to, go to therapy. There are so many benefits.
You don't have to be broken.
Yeah, you don't have to be broken. It's okay if you are broken, because many of us are. But you don't have to be.
You don't have to be
completely broken. You don't have to be broken enough.
That's fine. You can just be your everyday Joe, and you can go seek help, and that's fine. Maybe you have your normal everyday problems, and that's something that psychotherapists are willing to help you with as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So thank you.
That's all.
Have a cozy day ahead.
Woo!